so I got out, meet my dad. He picked me up. And then now when he picked me up, I see my youngest aunt, right? Oldest aunt is still in jail. So now I see my youngest aunt. And then, there was another motorcycle, and she was on that one. I'm on the motorcycle with my dad. And then we drive for about an hour and a half or 2 hours, got to this temple. And my dad say, okay, go in the temple. When the sun go down, there's going to be a guy that come by. And when that
Mm.
guy come by, he's going to, do a couple, password and stuff like that. Then he'll take you, and then you guys go. Got it. Exactly happened that way. Guy came, bring me and my youngest aunt to essentially the holding house. Stay there until about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. He say, "All right, you guys, time to go to the boat." Took us out to the boat. Walked through this like rice paddy, and at one point the water was like up to my waist at that time. Now, by this time, probably about I'm 11 now. Time frame wise. But yeah, I remember water was getting high, and like I say, I was a city boy. Uh, didn't know how to swim very good at the time, but I was getting worried. But we got to the boat, got on the boat, and as we was situated in, uh, we heard, "Hey, the police are coming! They coming right now!"
Oh my
So
God.
we all got off and traced our way back and got to the highway, and just kind of like hitch a ride and then go home. So actually, my second attempt to escape wasn't all that bad. It went pretty quick just like that. And when I went home, my dad was like, "Hey, all right, good, come back. Good to see you home. And by the way, you did a good job with your deception plan, because on your friend, when they came back from school that day, they all run right to me and your mom, and they say, 'Mr. Khan, Mr. Khan, Chuong ditched school today. Is he home? He ditched school today.'" So they pretty much rag you out.
Wow, but you know what's interesting in just listening to you, and you're 10, and to be able to do this. I'm just thinking of an average 10-year-old in the world, and to be able to go to mom and dad, particularly dad, and dad says, "Are you ready for round two?" I mean, just think about the emotions, and here you are going, "Yeah, I'm ready," at 10, and not even allowing the first experience to be paralyzing, where you look at your dad and go, "Dad, do you not love me, man?" And so I just want to, before we go to the last and final, attempt, I just want to highlight that to the listeners and viewers, and just think about that. Um, and so you've always been my hero, man. And plus, we're about the same height. I mean, you got me by a couple of inches, but anyway, go ahead. So here it is now. The deception work. You kind of made eye contact. Look at me, Mario. I'm out, principal. So now what? What's next, man?
Yeah, and we'll move to that third escape there, but to capitalize on what you mentioned about how I am able to, at such a young age, just to say, okay, I'll go again and leave my family behind. I like to, you know, essentially jump forward a little bit, and as doing your service in our core along with me, I honestly believe our country have so much of those men and women as
Mm-hmm.
well that have that resiliency, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the how we was raised up when we was young. I honestly believe that my parents, how they raised me up until that point, give me that confidence, give me that comfort to say, hey, if my parents tell me do this, it's for good, and they will take care of me. And that carry with me throughout my whole Marine Corps career, or throughout my life up until now. And I I don't think that is unique to me. I think both you and I probably I know for me, have seen so many of our, you know, warrior that we had the opportunity to serve with, that also that have that same sense of resiliency. So
I believe, and I love how you're still the same person external about everybody else, and I love that about you, and that's your belief, and I appreciate that, my friend. We're talking about you, and and this is the Unarmored Talk podcast. It's well said, and I don't agree or disagree because that's we all have our beliefs, but 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 your circumstance, you didn't vote. You didn't ask for that. In the way you performed, if you will, is remarkable.
yeah,
Um, for
yeah,
you. And so I just want to say I always love your humility. You have not changed since I've known you since 1860. But but I just want to share that with you that you had a choice, or not, but to choose to keep those soft skills, those human skills, to choose to develop your personality, um, your career, your passion with the foundation of what your parents taught you, man, that's a choice. And and
yeah,
and it's and it's beautiful. It's remarkable to see it. And I've seen it when you're on active duty and still seeing it on this show. You guys notice he's like, first of all, before we even get to the third part, let me just take a minute. There's 8.5 billion humans. And I mean, you're amazing, man.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so
Well,
yeah.
and again, thanks. Keep your comment is what drive me, and we'll move forward here, for the sake of Tam here. But yeah, so the third time I tried to escape is uh, we got home, reintegrate with my family, and probably a couple months, not too long, probably about 2 months later, uh, one day my uncle just walked in, and we were the youngest uncle that was still in jail. He just walked in, and then my parents were like, "Hey, how did you come home?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, I make friends with the police, and one day they take me out to work on the field, and while they wasn't work looking, uh, I jump in the river, swam for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, however long, get on land, jump in another river, swam again, and then finally able to escape and got home." And so my parent was like, "Well, you definitely can't stay here because they're gonna come and find you because they know where we at. They know the relative and all that stuff. So they're gonna come and look for you." And so at that time, my dad was start uh, planning for our third trip, and our third trip now is my youngest uncle who just escaped, and then my youngest aunt. The
Hmm.
that are home. The oldest one was still in jail, and so uh, same story. At
Hmm.
night, got to the boat, got on the boat, the engine died. Like the first time, we were just floating, and first day, second day, third day came by. On the morning of the third day, start early in the morning, we looked far in the distance. We saw this shape about this big.
Hmm.
And when we saw that shape, we start putting our clothes or what we can find together and trying to send smoke up and send up distress signal. And so as we was doing that, Tam clicking, and as we look in the distance, that shape, as the day go by, um, it got a little bit bigger. It definitely is not coming toward us because they would move faster, but it got a little bit bigger, but definitely not big enough or fast enough to where we like, okay, they're gonna get to us, or we're gonna get to them before the day end. But we keep our hope, keep burning our clothes, and probably about 4 p.m., 4:30 p.m. The sun, no, starts sailing down, and also I remember, and if you see like my face where I look, because after 30 some years, actually more than that, I I still remember it's like just like yesterday. So I remember looking over to the left and we saw this fishing boat, you know, much nicer than ours, right? Like speeding toward us. And so we all waved them down. We all waved them down. They come in front of our boat and come to the right side. So now we face that way and they face the opposite direction. And we was trying to communicate with them. Uh, and whatever language we was talking, and some of the older folks on our boat were like, "Oh, those are the Thai fishermen," and then so they tried to speak some English or hand and arm signal and stuff like that, and essentially asked for, "Hey, do you have any water or any food that you can give us?" And so they would throw the line over, as you remember during our time on ship, replenishing at sea, where they throw the rope or the rope over from the other ship. Well,
Mm-hmm.
this essentially is that version. So they transfer over some water to us. And as they transfer some water over to us, we keep saying, okay, hey, you got any food that we can have as well? And their response back was, hey, do you have anything to trade? Well, when you leave Vietnam, you don't bring money because we can't trade Vietnam money in any of the other country. But folks
And
were
weren't you guys burning your clothes as signals?
right, right,
So I mean,
yeah. It's for them. I believe that those fishermen probably know that, hey, these are the refugee, and they already have
yeah.
that in their mind, right? So, um, but as we was asking that, and some of the older folks, they would have like a gold wedding ring or a small earring or something like that that they would bring with them. And so they, some were like, yeah, I can give you this ring. Please give us some food, right? And so if I could backtrack a little bit from the time that I see that boat, that fishing boat, to the end scene here that we're gonna hear about in about 2 minutes here, it take probably about 15 minutes, but it seemed a long time, right? So as folks were trying to give them their ring and through that line, I remember vividly looking over, and then I start seeing some of them like cover their face, some had their ski masks on and stuff like that. And as
Mm.
all this unfold, the older people on our boat was like, "Hey, those are the pirate. Those are the pirates." So of course, the whole commotion was going on and all of that stuff. And as all this was going, if you recall during our time in service, the word show of force, right? Show of force with our military aircraft, so that the bad people know that, hey, the U.S. military is here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it at that time, but as that was going on, I remember hearing and looking that it was a show of force. It was that low, that loud, and I remember
Mm-hmm.
hearing, look up, I see two jets, and it was kind of turned down so the pilot can take a look down. Two jets just like real loud come by, spin so they can see, go far a little bit, turn around, gone. And then as soon as we see them, and by the time that we don't see them no more, probably within about a minute. And I'm sure that boat, which now we assume are the pirate, they probably are thinking the same thing. What the heck was that? And we was like, oh wow, what was that? And so probably about while all this was going on, trying to figure out what happened. About a minute later, the two jet come back again and did the same thing. And as soon as they done that, turn, go away, spin, left us. Now the pirate was cutting the rope on their side just so they can sped away. So they just throw the rope down, and then they left. And so as they sped away, our boat was just keep floating, still seeing the ship the ship far in the distance, grow a little bit bigger, no more aircraft. And then I remember as telling myself, pretty sure the folks on our boat was thinking and saying, well, that's probably was fortunate. We almost got pirated. But now at least we have some water and we still see that ship in the distance. So hopefully, good thing will happen. And so we're floating, floating. Maybe 45 minutes later, if you recall, and if you know the viewer on the channel here recall seeing watching the movie Castaway, and at the very end, where Tom Hanks was just laying on the raft and just pretty much give up, and then here come you see like this big old hole that just come by to his left side, I believe. That's exactly how when I watched that movie, it brought me back to that scene uh, at that time. So
Yeah.
after about 45 minutes, we was floating, and I remember also I looked to the left. Uh, I saw this bigger gray hole was just coming toward our boat. Our boat is probably about that big of my pinky, and this thing is about this big, and it was coming, and then finally it's kind of like hit just in hard enough. I think it was they planned it out and intentionally doing it because I'm pretty sure the engine already turned off, but kind of hugged us. And then when they hugged us, our boat went to the far side of that. This now it's a ship. It's gray color, and I remember, when it's hugged it, and I remember looking up, and as soon as I look up, I see Own Glory, all
Wow.
flag, all country flag, waving.
Wow.
And every time I share this story, and when I get to this part, um, I always get, a little bit uh, emotional, and
Yeah.
it is that way, as you know, for us as Marine and service member in our country, uh, that how we fight and defend our freedom. And for me at that time, uh, although I did not know what my life would be like, 30 years, 36 years afterward, that I would be, retired from serving our country as a U.S. Marine. But at that time, seeing our flag, it inside me, I was like, wow, that's the symbol of freedom.
Mm.
That's what I've been doing. That's what that's what I've been looking for. That's what my parents want me to look for. And although they probably didn't know that we would be meeting the U.S. that a U.S. Navy destroyer ship that way, they probably think that we would go to Malaysia or Singapore and then
Yeah.
seek asylum. But we saw, that's how we met. And for us, when I look up, I see Own Glory, and then I hear all this funny voice. Our sailor was running around wearing the uniform, and they were speaking language, and I was like, oh man, that's English. I was like, man, that sounds so cool. But of course, I didn't understand what they were saying. And your listener might be saying right now, I don't even know what you're saying right
Hey,
now.
hey, when you say, but there's one thing for sure, that is not the Vietnamese police.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
He said, I don't care. I don't care what language. They could be speaking alien for all I care.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. That
So the seeing seeing the freedom at that time, and they obviously pull our boat to the side, and then pick us up. There was 126 of us total on that boat. And how can I give the listener here imagine how big is that boat? I would say envision a semi truck uh,
mm,
length of that, the container of a semi truck length, but probably about 3/4 of the length.
but
The width
but what
is about that big.
but what we do know, what I do know is thank God for your parents who created the opportunity for you. They didn't have to do it. Your dad did not have to do it. I'm a father. You're a father. That's a tough choice. To be able to go, we're gonna have to potentially lose our 10-year-old for freedom. And then what I do know is out of the, would you say, 126 potential souls, souls that tried to, that were with you, I do know there's one that ended up continuing a life of service, joining the United States Marines, and then having an amazing career, giving back to a country that he wasn't born in, giving back to a place of democracy that you had to escape 3 times. I'm gonna have to play the lottery with you, man. But you know what I'm saying. And I tell you, and the other thing I do know about Chong Nguyen is it doesn't matter where you are in the world. There's roughly about 8.5 billion humans, but you can't go to any institution, any college, any academic entity and take a program of caring, get a certification of empathy, and that's what we see. And
Right.
I tell you, for me to be have been blessed to have met you, to have followed you for years before physically meeting you, you were my West Coast hero. And then now for you to, for you and I to finally connect, at least share your story of resilience, your story of a lifelong commitment to serve people is remarkable. And I would tell you, Chong, just so everyone knows, he just got off of work. Um, and I'm not going to be selfish and keep him any longer because I will. He knows this. We'll talk until midnight. But what I want to offer you, because I don't want to be selfish, my friend, looking back on that particular journey, if you had to give a piece of advice to anyone who is currently struggling in the world, who believes there's no hope, what would you give them?
Yeah. So my advice and offer to anyone as far as how I was able to get to where I am today and continue to be successful. Really, it's come down to two things. Number one, embrace embrace the opportunity that is given to you.
Mm,
And I use given, that's probably not the right word, but embrace any opportunity that come across you.
hmm
And treat it as if it was the first time that you ever seen that opportunity. Right? And I
Like,
know Mario, you're gonna tell me stop it again, but I will bring it back
pop
to
it.
bring it back to when I had the opportunity to serve with you in uniform. You give me the opportunity to be a battalion sergeant major who fall under your charge to say you run your unit, and when you need help, just know I'm here and I will fully support you. And there are other things that I still remember that you helped my career with that you didn't have to. And those are opportunity that you gave me and many other people give me. So embrace the opportunity. And with that, you I feel bad when I cannot turn those opportunity into success. Um, that's just how I do it. Is hey, if people give me an opportunity and I don't make it into something, I want to go back and tell that person I'm sorry. I'll do better next time. So, which lead me to my second point. For for anyone that would like to hear is personal responsibility. um, you have got to be the one that say, hey, this is my responsibility. I asked for this. So be it as hard as it can be or as challenging as it can be, just realize that hey, nobody pushed you to do it. Definitely out here in the civilian industry,
Yeah.
at any day. And I share this. I know this is gonna be posted to the World Wide Web, so I know folks is gonna hear. My boss might even hear it. I share it with him. I say, sir, I have a choice. I have a choice now that if I don't want to do what I have told you that I'm going to do in my position as an area manager, then one or two things. I need to leave or you need to fire me, and I'll leave before you fire me if I don't want to do the job.
Well, I tell you
So
what, if I was your boss, neither one of those are options. I'd be like, well, we got to go back to the table because you're missing some additional options. Everyone, again, Chung to win, an amazing human being. And the last thing I want to add before I let not even let you go to go back to work, but to let you go to continue to do great things in life and spend time with your family, is what people don't know is when we were on Camp Schwab, he was the only sergeant major that I have witnessed in my life that inspired and motivated. They're two separate things, right? And he motivated first, that's temporary. And then he threw some inspiration on top where he had a couple of Marines that pulled a Humvee, a big old vehicle, probably weighs, I don't know how many tons of pounds, and they pull that thing, and then he runs after them, grabs like the rope or something, and starts to cheer them on. They won everything. I've never seen anything like it in my life, but what I do know is that is the power of the human dynamics when people know you care about them. You mentioned it, personal accountability. You took that opportunity, you didn't have to do it, and your legacy will continue to live on, my friend, even through me. Thank you so much, brother. I love the heck out of you, Chong. I really
thanks,
do.
Mario, and thank you to your guests. Definitely an honor for me to be here with you.
Yeah, same here. Well, everyone, thank you for tuning into this special episode. And you guys know the deal. The reason why this podcast exists since 2020 is because of your support. And hey, I'm gonna keep doing this until the good Lord upstairs says you're fired. So I want everyone to continue to be safe and may God bless you. May God continue to bless your friends and may God continue to bless your families. See you later, my friend.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All right.